Hello students, I am Raghavendra Kumar Singh, teaching faculty of US Academy and Institute. Today we will discuss social studies. It carries three books: history, named our past, civics, and geography. Most of the peoples want to know what is going on in their surrounding. How the peoples are able to know about what is going on. It is an incident or the activities which is in their surrounding. They are able to know with the help of newspaper, listening radios, and while watching television. While watching television or while reading newspapers, we know about all the activities, all the incidents which are going on in our surrounding, even though in the city or in our country. Most of the headings written in newspaper which tells us about the day before today, means the previous day. Most of the headings which tells about the 10 years before, and most of the headings tells about 100 years before. Now the question arises in our mind was that how did they get information about that time? That incident was in written form, or they get oral description of that incident and they had written in newspaper regarding the incident. How did their incident took place, where and when did this occur, and how much time before that incident was, and when did it occur. So for this we have to discuss history's first chapter: what, where, how, and when. We can know about the past. There are several things by which we can find out what the life of ancient peoples were, what they ate, just like raw food as fruit or the animal flesh, with cooking or without cooking. When did they know about cooked food? When did they know about the kind of clothes they wear, which type of clothes they wear? We can also find out how did they know that most of the animals are helpful or useful to them while traveling from one place to another in searching of food for their livelihood, such as hunters who hunt animals for food, herders, farmers, merchant, craft persons, musician, and scientist. We also find out about the games which are played by the children at that time. The story which was heard by them from their grandparents, and the play which they saw inside their locality, and the song which was sung inside their cultural activities. Where did people live? People live along the banks of river for several hundred years ago because they need water for their various activities. Some of the peoples who lived here at that time are able to gather substances for their livelihood, such as food materials of different types like fruit, roots, and other substances like flesh of animal by hunting them. So they are called as hunters and gatherers. The proof of that time was collected by different archaeologists in the northwest part near Suleiman and Kirthar Hills, which is located in the map, which was in Pakistan today. And here men and women began to grow crops of wheat and barley near about 8,000 years ago, and also find out the most of the part of India people started rearing animals like sheep, goat, and cattle, which are located in Garo Hills near about Brahmaputra River in Assam valleys. After that, in Vindhyas, which was located at the central India, there are some areas where agriculture developed. The place where the rice was grown first was the Vindhyas. About 4,700 years ago, most of the earliest cities were flourished on the banks of these rivers. Later on, the cities are developed on the banks of most of the rivers, just like Ganga. In ancient time, the area along these rivers to the south of the Ganga was known as Mughal, a powerful large ruler kingdom, or a powerful ruler kingdom, and the kingdom were set up in the other part of the country. People travels from one part of the to the other part, including Himalayas, deserts, rivers, and seas. Throughout this, that journeys were very dangerous for them at that time, because most of the dangerous animals are living there. So men and women move to search for livelihood, as also they escape from natural disasters like flood or drought. Sometimes men marched in army for conquering other lands. Besides, merchant travels with karma ships carrying their precious goods or valuable goods from one place to another, just like village to village, town to town, or from country to country. and religious teachers walked from village to village and town to town and stopping to offer instructions and advise them to go on a particular way. So most of the activities which was done by the previous peoples or the ancient peoples were on the basis of their spiritual things and belief that they will discover new and existing places and they will start on staying there. They also led to share most of the ideas between the peoples, just like in the mountain areas, hilly areas, sea, or different subcontinent or different coastal areas. While it was difficult to cross the different places from one state to the other, or the one mountain to the landforms, or to cross the seas, peoples from across the frontiers also came into the subcontinent and settled here. So the movement of people enriches their cultural tradition and aspects to different peoples. People also share their ideas and ways of carrying stone or carving stone, composing music, even cooking food also, over several hundreds of years. Now the topic came name of the land. How our India is formed and how the name was formed, the question will be there. Two of the words we often use for our country named India and Bharat. The word India comes from Indus, called Sindhu, means Sindhu river, which was located towards the Pakistan, which arises from the mountain ranges of Jammu and Kashmir. It is a Sanskrit word. When the Iranians and the Greeks who came through the northwest part about 2500 years ago, they were familiar with the Indus, so they called Hindus or Indos, and the hands of the east of the river are called India. The name Bharat was used for a group of peoples who lived at that place from north to west and who were mentioned in the Rig Veda, which was the ancient sculptures and the composition of many things in Sanskrit. It was dated about 3500 years ago. Later it was used for the country also. Then what about the past? Finding about the past. There are several ways of finding out about the past. Number one, by reading books, or number two, by reading written sculptures named manuscript, because they are written by hand. Manu, the meaning is hand. There were usually these manuscripts were written long ago with the help of hand. They were usually written on palm leaf or on the specially prepared bark of the tree known the birch, which grown in the Himalayan region. Over the years, many manuscripts were eaten up by the insects and decayed by some microorganisms, but some are survived, which are preserved in temples and monasteries. These books dealt with all kinds of subjects such as religious beliefs and practices, the lives of the king, medicine, and science. Besides these epics, poems, and plays, many of them were written in Sanskrit. Others were in Prakrit language, which is the local ordinary people's language, and in Tamil also. We can also study inscriptions that are written on relatively hard surfaces such as stone or the metals. This should be written by the king's order and inscribed on it to know to so that the people could see, read, and obey them. There are other kinds of inscriptions also as well, where men and women, including king and queen, recorded what they did. For example, king often kept record of victories in the battle. There were many other things that were made and used in the past. Those who study these objects are called archaeologists. They study the remains of buildings made up of different type of stones, different type of bricks, different type of sculptures, and the paintings. They explore that time of tools, that time weapon, pots, pans, ornaments, and coins also. Some of the objects may be made of stone, other of bone. Some should be made from the clay, baked clay, or the metals. Some are written on that. Objects that are made up of hard substances and impressible substances usually survive for long time. Archaeologists also look for bones of animals, birds, and fish to find out what peoples ate in the past. Plant remains survive for more rarely because that should be eaten by some insects or microorganisms. Seeds of grain or piece of wood have been burnt. They survive in a charred form. Historians who are scholars who study about the past often use word source to refer to the information found from the manuscripts and other inscriptions which was given by the archaeologist or any other way. Once they found the source, learning about the past becomes an adventure. As we reconstruct it bit by bit or step by step, so historians and archaeologists are just like the detectives who use all the source like clues to find out about our past. Now, our past or many. Have you noticed about your past? Quite different. Most of us are not able to remember what we have done or what the activity was done beside that day, such as anyone's birthday is there and some incident occurs on that day, he will remember, and all the peoples at that time could also be remembered. So, we have used these words past in plural to draw attention to the fact that the past was different from different group of peoples. For example, the lives of herders, farmers, or different from those of kings and queens. The lives of merchants were different from the craft persons, and so on. Also, as is true even today, people followed different practices and customs in different parts of the country. For example, today most of the people living in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands get their own food with the help of fishing, hunting, and collecting foods which are produced inside the forest. Most of the people living in cities depend on others for supply of food, which difference such as their exhibit or existence in the past as well. Besides, there is another kind of difference. We know a great deal about the kings and the battles they fought, because kings keep record of their victories while others could not. Generally, ordinary people such as hunter, fishing folk, gatherers, farmers, or herders did not kept record of what they did, while archaeology helped us to find out about their lives. There is much that remains unknown. So, most of the things were there which we are not able to find out with the help of written sculptures and many more things. Then, the next topic is, what do dates mean? If somebody asks you the date, you will probably mention the day, month, and year. Suppose 2000 and something. These years are counted from the date generally assigned to the birth of Jesus Christ, the founder of Christianity. So, 2000 means 2000 year about the birth of Christ. All dates before the birth of Christ are counted backward and usually have the letter BC, means before Christ, added on. In this book, we will refer to dates going back from the present, using 2000 as our starting point.